Hello. So I just did video 326, which will be the one before this one. And that one had me thinking about one specific question. So that's what I want to look into now. My question is going to be, wow, my ear is ringing. My question is going to be, what did Brian tell his counsel? Like what is the story, or what were they told that they're that they're running off of? I'm going to do a tarot, and I'll do a clarifier for each one to try and get some like detailed background info on what we're seeing. This is going to be a very short reading. Other than that, that's all this is going to be, is that one question, unless something comes up that requires another one. This is an energy reading. It is all alleged, my opinion, not fact, my opinion. I'm going to do 2 rows of 5. So what did Brian tell his counsel or his team? Queen of Wands reversed, 6 of Swords, the Hierophant reversed, so right away, Queen of Wands has been Bethany. 6 of Swords can represent going from one place to another, or driving per se. And the Hierophant reversed is making me feel like it's pointing towards Brent. It's almost like Brian told his team that he it's almost like he told his team that somehow he knows that Bethany can prove that Brent was there. I guess it doesn't have to be Brent, but someone, but it's like someone that Brian, this would be like if Brian said, allegedly, my opinion, to his team, something along the lines of, what would it be? So my buddy Brent, or even somebody told me that Brent said whatever. It would probably be that. It would probably be somebody told me that Brent said, instead of being as direct. But this would be like if you said, somebody told me that Brent said that he knows what happened there or something, and that someone came face to face with Bethany, which I know someone came face to face with Dylan, but it's like, in that instance, this is someone that Dylan doesn't know. But this is like if he was told Bethany came face to face with someone that she knows, like she knows this person besides just this event, and she came face to face with them during this time. That would be like this. So it's like somehow, it's like Brian is presenting the information, allegedly, in my opinion, to his team, that somehow he was in the knowing of Bethany seeing someone else, or something along those lines. Like, guilt by association, I guess you would say. If like what Brian's telling his defense is that like it's guilt by association because he knows what happened, or was told what was happened, or found out what happened, something. Those 3. 2 of Pentacles reversed. 6 of Swords. 2 of Pentacles reversed. So there's a couple different things that I'm seeing as options. One would be Brian saying, I know what happened because so-and-so told me, either directly or they told someone else and that person told me. But it's like, it's something that there's also a connection to, I guess it could be Dylan because it's Queen of Wands in reverse, one of the surviving roommates. Excuse me. It's like, option one, I came into the knowledge of this surviving roommate seeing another person or something like that. One. Two would be, I was the driver and I dropped this person off, which to me, that kind of narrows it down to having to be Brent that he would be saying that about, because he's the only one that's not around to defend himself. Well, I mean, he's not the only one. There's others too, but like, that the timing is convenient of it. But Hierophant's reverse. So in that, if that was the case, it would be, I dropped this person off and I didn't know what they did. Or I told them not to do it and they did it anyway, but I tend to not, I think it'd be more, I didn't know. That was two. What was the other option? Either I knew about it, I was the driver. Oh, and this, I don't know how would it would be, but almost like I was in the area and I saw something fishy, but like, but if that was the case, it would have to be some kind of connection to a surviving roommate. Like, I saw her see this. You know what I mean? Like, it couldn't just be, oh, I drove by and I saw cars outside and I was like, oh, that's weird. Not that. It would have to be like, I witnessed this person see this person. I don't know, but that's what I'm getting so far. Let's pull clarifiers to see. Maybe that'll help doing it now. Queen of Wands reversed. No water. Downstairs, upstairs. Queen of Wands is reversed. That threw me off. I have no idea. Give me a clarifier for the no card. Corruption. Oh, Brian's team believes his story. That's what it is. Queen of Wands in reverse. You know how sometimes there's like, I mean, it's their job, so I guess that's what you signed up for, right? But it's like sometimes there's defense teams that like know, hey, this dude is guilty, but I have to defend him anyway. This to me is saying that they believe what Brian is saying, that there's a way, that someone else that is unwilling to cooperate could potentially cooperate, but it's not like it's not necessarily like corroborate a lie or a truth. It's like the timeline's off. And it's getting someone else to admit that the timeline is off or something along those lines. Like, it's not like, oh, you saw this other person stab these people and now you're saying it's Brian. It's not that. It's like there's some pieces that are still out of place because the timeline's off. And his team believes that if the timeline was corrected, that it would increase the amount of potential reasonable doubt. Allegedly, my opinion. Six of Swords. Regret in reverse. This is literally the card that in the other reading, and I know because I just screen recorded it the other day for something, this is the card that represented, I said, I saw Brent in his apartment, and I saw a image or a vision of him sitting on a little stool with two people talking at him in front of him. This was the card that was representing that. And it came out in reverse, and it came out with the Six of Swords. So to me, this would be how I gave those options. This would be kind of increasing, in my opinion, the likelihood of it being I dropped off someone but didn't know what they were going to do. Hierophant reversed. Serial killer. I really think that Brent is the one whose name is going to get really, really involved here. Like, I almost thought before that his name was being dragged through the mud in reference to this in terms of like behind the scenes. But this kind of makes it seem like this is actually going to come out in court. Like, it's going to be a discussion. There's going to be, I don't know, maybe like a whole day dedicated to back and forth rebuttal about Brent's potential involvement or something. And I'm wondering if that is what's not, like, because I believe there's certain things that are going to start to happen or that are like kind of falling in place that are going to allow for certain things to be kept private. And I'm wondering if because of Brent's affiliation with the military, I'm wondering if that, like, we know this is going to come up, so we can't make it seem like we're going to give all this access and then boom, take it away. It's better to kind of like gradually just increase and decrease instead of making big increases and decreases in terms of what the average citizen's able to know and see about the trial. What I'm saying is I'm wondering if that has, or how much that has to do with the potential expectation or knowledge of the fact that Brent's name is going to come up and he's affiliated with the military. So maybe those things have to be kept private. Even if it's not like blaming him, maybe it will be, maybe it won't be, but like, even if it's not that, maybe just the discussion has to be more private when it's a military official who is not here to defend themselves. Let me pull a clarifier for that. Three of Wands, waiting for it. I know it's coming. I'm looking ahead. This is a card about foresight. I'm expecting it. I'm anticipating it. I'm acting or planning accordingly. Two of Pentacles reversed. Secret in reverse. Yeah, it's like, because we're looking at this from the perspective of what did Brian say to his team. Secret in reverse would be they already know this. Like, it's the piece that they're waiting to use. And it's also, if that's the case, then it's also a piece that they're using to leverage certain things, because we know that this is going to want to be kept a little bit more hush-hush because it's a military official who is not here to defend himself. So if it's like, okay, well, this piece has to be discussed in order to give Brian a fair trial, but we can't publicly discuss it because it's of, you know, what I just said, not being here to defend himself. It seems as though that plays a role in how things are unfolding now. Because it's like, if we take too many steps forward and then boom, have to reel it back because of that piece, it's going to be more of an issue for the media who are already filing to know more, right? That's what I'm getting. So first, oh, that's not even the end of the first row. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more card. 8 of Swords. We feel, so what we got so far is that his team believes what he's saying. It's like, I'll go to bat for you fully because I believe too that there's something wrong with this timeline. And if we prove that there's something wrong with the timeline, then it makes it more ample reasonable doubt. And 8 of Swords is like, going back to that, was that in the last reading? I gave the image of the pool. I think it was. In the last reading, I gave this image of an above ground pool. And this is like if the defense has a paper clip and you open the paper clip and you poke a hole in the pool so the water starts to come, and then you kind of like go like this so it makes the hole bigger and bigger and bigger. And I said that they want to do that in front of the jury. They don't want to even poke the hole behind the scenes because then it loses that effect of, okay, look how we started and look what we built. Obviously we have something here. So they don't want to poke the hole until in front of the actual jury. So that's what this 8 would be. It'd be, I have this, but I have no power to use it right now, or I can't, it won't have the same effect if I start right now when we're not in front of the jury. That's what I'm getting there. Let's see. I'm powerless to stop everything that's being said and thrown around right now because I can't make my move until it's time to be in front of the jury. So it's like the 8 is being trapped, and this is like, there's nothing we can really do to stop everything that's being said and looked into and posted and everything like that. It's like it's almost giving me the image of the defense maybe saying something along the lines of, we have a better case than it looks like we have right now, but we can't unfold it until it's time, or it's going to lose its spark or something. All right, so that's the first row. So this is the card that's under the Queen of Wands reversed. The Devil reversed. I said before, he expects or is anticipating someone else's testimony to get him out because, not because of proving guilt or innocence, but because of proving this person's testimony is different than this person's testimony. And this is coming up underneath of the Queen of Wands reversed, which is about one of the surviving roommates. And it's also about his team believing him. Because Devil reversed is like, I anticipate this testimony to help me, but it's like in a not direct way. It's not like, oh, well, I saw him 80 miles over there, so he couldn't have been over there. It's not that. It's I'm saying something that's different than what this person is saying, and if we're saying different things, it makes this fall apart, and that leaves way for reasonable doubt. This is under the 6 of Swords. So that's where I'm getting, it's possible he's going to say he was the driver or drove someone and dropped them off. 10 of Swords reversed. Maybe pick someone up instead of drop them off. Maybe. I'm trying to remember what time his phone pings were. Maybe instead of saying he drove someone there, maybe he's going to say that he picked someone up. My friend called me, said he got in a bad fight or something like that. I drove to the area, picked him up, we sped away in my car. Dropped him off, looped around, went home. Could be something like that. That would kind of make things make sense. Maybe we'll clarify. The devil reverse. AI and life insurance. Artificial life insurance, not real. For the devil reversed, not real life insurance. So the devil reverse is how I was getting it. It's not like someone can say, I saw him or I didn't see him. It's someone that can say, this is inaccurate because my testimony is different than someone else's. It's like artificial intelligence using fake intelligence, using a false testimony as this card real small says credit card application. So it's like using it as credit, using it to your advantage, using it to get buy your way out. 10 of Swords reversed. Devil. Yeah, he's going to say that he picked someone up, I think. Because 10 of Swords reverse is how I said, maybe it's not that he dropped someone off. Maybe it's that he picked someone up and sped away with that person. And that could also explain why he was back at the scene the next morning. Or in the area, back in the area the next morning. Maybe he can say that he wanted to go check his friend's story and see if like if this is the case for the defense, it would be, my friend called me, I went and picked him up, he got in the car, maybe he was a little bloody, maybe he wasn't, whatever. We sped away. He told me some story, I dropped him off, and then the next morning I went back to see, like, oh, my friend said that he got his head smashed here or something, so I went to check it or something like that. Like, it, for example, allegedly example, something like that. All right, next card. This is under the Hierophant reversed. 5 of Pentacles. He may say that someone paid him to give a ride. Like, maybe it's not even a close friend. Maybe it's like an IOU, or like maybe like, oh, this wasn't really my close friend, but he didn't have anyone else to call, or like, I don't know. There's something about, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Brian being in the area because he picked someone up, and then he's going to say that that person presented him a false story. The person that he is saying that he picked up. Under 2 of Pentacles reversed. The Chariot. 2 of Pentacles reversed. Look how similar too. The shape. Straight down, 1, 2. Straight down, 1, 2. clarifier for the Five of Pentacles. Evil. It was an IOU, or he paid me to pick him up, or whatever. It could be something like I called my friend for drugs, and he was in Moscow and had gotten in a fight and said, come pick me up and I'll give you this, and then you don't have to pay me because you're picking me up and giving me a ride, and I'm giving you that. But he got in the car and I realized something happened, so I went back the next morning to check it out. Maybe, and again, we're looking at what Brian told his team, so that's what I'm seeing. Because I don't really think he went with the just outright, I have nothing to do with this. Because the phone pings and everything like that, I do believe that there is an at least kind of believable story that was given to them, and I think it has everything to do with being in the area to pick someone else up after the fact. Chariot, weird science, and frozen. Weird science, drugs, frozen. Who was shocked? What did they say? Frozen shock phase. I just said, I wonder if it was, hey, can I have drugs or something? And then, oh, well, I'm here, you got to come pick me up. Gets in the car, and then, okay, so Brian calls someone, allegedly in my opinion, and I'm not saying this is true, I'm saying this is, I believe, the story that's being told. So this would be Brian calls someone to pick up some substances, and that person says, oh, I'm in Moscow, come get me, give me a ride, and then it's free or whatever. So this would be like if Brian says, I picked that person up, they got in the car, maybe they were bloody, maybe they had a knife, maybe they told me I just got in a fight or I just got jumped, whatever. So I sped off with this person. Dropped that person off. I went home. The next morning, got a weird feeling, so I went back to the area to see if I could corroborate that person's story. Or maybe if it's the case that someone told him I got in a fight, maybe he's saying he was going back to check on other people. I don't know. But I go back to the area for that. And then if that person if that person that is in this story is Brent, then when Brian and his dad go to Pennsylvania, the dad brings up Brent's name, and then Brian, once he's in Pennsylvania, the dad brings up Brent's name, so it's clear that they know about Brent, right? Because otherwise, how else would you be bringing it up? So then when Brian's in Pennsylvania, he's doing all this gloves and stuff. He can say, I was doing that because of what happened to Brent, because I know what Brent did, in Brian's opinion, because I picked him up. Boom, reasonable doubt. Now, if you prove the timeline is incorrect, if the defense presents that and then proves the timeline incorrect, the prosecution has a problem. Allegedly, my opinion. Especially when they can't even use that DNA that was on a military-issued sheath. Because we know if Brian just goes in with, I got nothing to do with anything, I don't know anything about anything, then it's never going to be believable because there's too many other factors, right? But a story like that, and then poking holes in the evidence and proof that they do have after presenting some kind of story like that, because all of a sudden, okay, now you can't use the DNA. All of a sudden, oh, you can't even question the person that is being brought up here because they're deceased. That was 4. So the last one is the 8 underneath of the 8 of Swords. Knight of Swords reversed. 1 Knight of Sword, it's someone on a horse, on a vehicle, one guy. Knight of Swords in reverse is like, I'm forcing you, I'm being a bully, I'm being very persuasive or pushy, or you're doing what I want because I want you to do it. It's also acting on impulse, so impulsively calling your friend for substances and having him say, I gotta come pick me up to get him, give me a ride. And in no way is this me saying that Brent Kopacka did this or has anything to do with it. This is me looking into what the potential defensive story that's being presented is. Let me be very clear about that. This is not me saying at all, this is not me saying that Brent went in there and did this. I'm just looking into what could the possible defense story be that was presented that allowed the defense team to believe their client. The Chariot, surveillance in reverse, and mind control in reverse. If you watch my last reading, we talked about this particular card, but it was upright. Surveillance in reverse. If you watch my last reading, you'll understand what I'm about to say. I believe that if this defense strategy doesn't work, at that point, that is when they would switch over to the other that I talked about in that reading. That's all I'm going to say. Knight of Swords reversed. Bioweapon in reverse. To me, that kind of clarifies what I just said. But also what's sticking out to me is the mask. And Dylan saw a masked man. It's in reverse, and it came out with the Knight of Swords in reverse. I'm even wondering if maybe Brian can say, I went in the house to get my friend, and that's why I was in there. Like if it comes to that, like I went to pick up my friend, he didn't answer the phone or something, or I went to pick up my friend but my phone was dead, so I went in the house that he told me to pick him up by. And then when my friend got in the car, he had a charger, so that's why I was able to plug my phone back in. And if this is the case of what's going to be presented, I really don't think that that would be allowed to be made public because it's someone in the military who's not here to defend themselves. And that's kind of like I don't know, I just can't imagine them discussing that as a potential possibility in open court in front of the public. Like, I don't know how, I've never heard of anything like that before. And I don't know what it would take to block it, but It's interesting because in other readings I said I was seeing it's like almost like something's happening and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it gets shut down, like, and then not shut down permanently, but like stopped, like, oh, okay, we got to figure out how to talk about this, I guess you could say. Oh no, that's what I'm getting. Let me see. I'm gonna pull 2 of these as just clarifier. 10 of Diamonds. Travel abroad, a plane. This is the nuclear bomb card. Atomic nuclear bomb card. And it's 10, so it's like a cycle of completion. Crowds and arenas and many children, like 4 young victims. Fusion of forces, a medium. Seal the deal. Powerful energy and a rocket. So that mixed in potential military connection, something being a nuclear bomb or like a big piece of the case, a completion of a cycle, the many children, meaning the many victims, the 4 victims, fusion of forces. It's like, in a way, it would be all the different parties having to work together. So fusion of different forces in order to make it so this can be talked about in a fair way. And I don't want that to seem like, oh, well, we're going to expose Brent because he did this. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying for it to even be discussed, like if the defense wants to go with some kind of implications towards Brent, I just don't see how that could be allowed to be public. I don't know. Ten of Hearts. We had 10 of Diamonds and now 10 of Hearts. Success and security, an antidote to any bad cards. So we just had the nuclear bomb and then we had an antidote for it. The bottom is where it says those things. Okay. Basically, I would say that what I got from this reading is, and maybe it's not Brent, I don't know. It just, it feels like it is to me. But I do think that there's going to be something that is not meant to be talked about publicly that comes up in the trial. And I also think that the defense feels like they have more of a case than they're allowed, or not allowed, but like willing to display right now, because it's going to hit different if it happens in front of the jury. And I really do think that I don't even, and maybe they do fully believe he's innocent, or maybe they aren't sure. But what I feel is that the defense team fully is confident and believes that there is a provable timeline issue. And so they fully believe in their ability to get Brian out, because they believe that that timeline issue will open the door to a more solid, reasonable doubt argument. So it's not that they're saying, like, you could completely separate, oh, he's guilty or not, from what I'm saying, because it's like, okay, well, as his lawyers, we can prove that this case is not accurate because of this timeline issue. So the rest is irrelevant because you're basing your whole case off of an inaccurate timeline. I don't know how to explain it, but that's what I'm saying. I also don't think that Brian said nothing. Like, I don't know nothing. I never heard of this before. I don't think he went with that towards his defense. And I don't remember if I just said this again or not, but I do think very strongly that Brian and his team believe fully that if person A gets up on the stand and tells the truth, and person B gets up on the stand and tells the truth, the defense believes that that's a win for them, because they believe that these two things are not equal. They're not going to paint the same picture or tell the same story. I mean, they may tell the same story, but then on cross-examination or something like that, the defense is looking for the opportunity to expose something that they believe is contradictory in multiple people's accounts of something that happened. All right, I think that's it for this part for now. Going to shuffle these. Oh yeah, I thought I didn't pull for that, but I did, okay. Password. Debt. You owe me. Natural disaster. I really think that that's what he's going to go with. And I don't know if it's what he's going to go with in open court or just what he told his lawyers, but I really feel it's something along the lines of, I picked up the person who I believe did this, or something like that. Please remember, all this is only alleged, my opinion, not fact, my opinion. I'll pull one of these. Yep. So these all fell in reverse, and then this one's upright. It says the killer is out of the area, which I find that interesting because we were just talking about going into the area to pick someone up. I feel like this is saying that that story is untrue, as in Brian going to pick someone up and the other person being the killer. I feel like this is saying that that's untrue, even if it's the story that's presented. And I feel like this is important because that person that may or may not be at the other end of that story being told may not be here to, or is not here to defend himself. If that is the case. Okay, that's all for now. Please remember, this is all alleged, my opinion. Not fact, my opinion. I just want to pull one more. Just like a password for Brent, I guess. I don't know. Sad in reverse. And it's the eye. Remember, he had that picture of his eye, and this says sad in reverse. That makes me feel like this wasn't a mental health crisis that made this happen. I mean, it, you know what I mean? Maybe in part, but like, it wasn't, I was just sad and I came to my demise. There was something going on. And that eye is the same eye that was in the picture that Brent had as his profile picture. Not the same exact eye, but a close-up of an eyeball. And the other card that just happened to be on the other side here was dating. It's making me feel like connected. All right, let me pull one more. Let me get a clarifier for the dating card. King of Wands. I feel like that's like kind of just a confirmation of that this is what's being talked about behind the scenes. Because the King of Wands is like, oh, you're bold, huh? Making these kind of accusations when I'm not even here to defend myself. That's pretty bold. As in Brent saying that. All right, that's what I'm getting. Please remember, this is all alleged, my opinion, not fact.